Hello, Teresa Phelps Martin bringing you the energetic signature for Pisces season 2023. So Pisces is a mutable water sign, and it's mutable in the sense it helps us change, adjust, adapt. Pisces season in the northern hemisphere happens at the end of winter. I'm sitting outside. It's probably 70 plus degrees. The sun is still low in the sky. You can still see that there are no leaves budding on the trees. So we're having, I call this false spring. It happens in Louisville about this time. It's really like a gift from God, in my opinion, that we're reminded of what's coming, right? And that's the benevolence of Pisces. Pisces is this energy that is deep, it's dark, it's compassionate, it's caring. It's almost caring so much so that sometimes that Piscean energy doesn't know how to have boundaries. All the water signs struggle with boundaries, but it really is endless. It's eternal. It's ongoing. Jupiter is one of the rulers of Pisces, so that's the idea of benevolence. The other natural modern day ruler of Pisces is Neptune. Jupiter is done in Pisces. It won't be there again for another 12 to 13 years. Neptune's still there. Neptune is moving into the later degrees of Pisces. So we've been in this very dreamy, ethereal, mystical space. There's a lot of, with Neptune being in Pisces, this re-emergence in wisdom traditions in the sense of soul, of being soul-led. I am not unique in this idea of living more of a soul-filled life. It's very much a common theme that has resurfaced. So there's a generation of children who will be born with Neptune in Pisces, and I really feel like they're here they're my children, to help us really live this more intuitive and mystical approach. Okay, this is very much Pisces. It is the creative waters of our existence. To me, it's the energy of the soul, of where all things collide. And I got to hear a 12-year-old's version of soul recently, as I'm working a lot with middle school age children as a mental health counselor. And in this working with a 12-year-old, they beautifully articulated what soul meant to them in a way of talking about death and rebirth and fragmenting. And it's why we can be from the same family but have different skills and different interests. And it was so beautiful and profound. And yes, this person is adorable, but still dealing with some major challenges. I really believe this generation of being that's being born with Neptune and Pisces will have a strong Pisces signature, and is really pushing caretakers to be more intuitively driven, more emotionally aware. So Pisces is ruled by Jupiter and Neptune. Jupiter just went through there, the deep waters being expanded, revealed to us, bigger dreams, and Neptune is still there. So this signature means there's an amplification to the Pisces season because the sun will conjunct Neptune. And what that is that means it's a yearly aspect because the sun travels the entire zodiac through the year. So the sun will be conjunct with Neptune. And because we have a lot of energy in the signs of Aquarius and Pisces and Aries, and it will be Taurus by the end of Pisces season because Venus will move in there, we have a lot of shifting. So there'll be more of, the energy will be more of conjuncts, sextiles, and we have a square with Uranus because Mercury is still there, but a lot more conjunctions and sextiles happening in the month. Mars creates a little trouble this month, but there's a lot more ease of flow. Oh, there's my Lou, my little Lulu bean. So what that means is there's a lot of harmonious energy. The challenges that are really like, how are we addressing the deep undercurrents of our experience for the past 10 years? And in that experience, we could say in the past 3 years, it's included everybody, right? There's this transpersonal energy of what's gone on, and that it is global, that it affects all people everywhere. So with that being said, it's kind of like the rug, all the stuff that's been swept under the rug for years is now exposed. And there's nothing wrong with exposure. Exposure creates the challenge creates the growth allows for the evolution. This is the energy of the soul. The soul is not here to keep it the same. So we have these challenges of Uranus still in Taurus. It will square the energy with Mercury. That is sweeping right on through Aquarius. Mercury is the planet of communication and moves into Pisces on March 2nd. And so we'll have that square. And then because Mars is still in Gemini, it's going to square the Sun, Mercury, and excuse me, the Sun and Mercury. I'm sorry. Mars will square the Sun and Mercury. And Uranus will square Mercury. And then we will have Mars squaring Neptune, which this will be the final square with Neptune. So we've been in that energy for a long time. Mars is this energy of our drive, our ambition. It's about being mindful, being wise in our choices. This is Mars in Gemini. How are we choosing to engage with the deep waters of our essence? So that storyline is going to finally express itself at the end of Pisces season. It's officially on March 13th. Okay, that's a lot about Pisces, but that's the flavor of Pisces season. And so Pisces season runs from February 18th until March 20th. And March 20th will be the first day of spring. We're having a little taste of it right now as I record this. So that first day of spring, we have the promise of newness, of rebirth. So this energy of Pisces season is really about closure. It's very similar to the balsamic moon. It's like, how are we going to take care of ourselves on a soul level? How are we going to dress? How are we going to allow our soul permission to express itself, to allow those emotions to be honored and respected and utilized in a way that we can come alive? To me, Pisces energy, or the 12th house, is a very potent place to spend time. So not everybody's 12th house is ruled by Pisces. You want to look at your astrological chart, that circle, that wheel, understand the houses, and look at which one that Pisces sits on the cusp. So for example, Pisces sits on the cusp. It covers some of my 5th house and some of my 6th house. So Pisces rules my 6th house. And no doubt of my mind, is it the main reason why I connect with spirit and soul on a daily level. My 12th house then is ruled by Virgo, that I am of service and I do work for more of the mysterious, behind the scenes, the unseen energy. So when you know your own chart, you can look and understand what is being illuminated while the sun travels through Pisces. So for me, it's a great time. The 6th house energy, actually, let me just do this real quick. If it's ruling your first house, it's about your sense of self, your identity. How are you expressing yourself? If Pisces rules your second house, it's learning how to value and prioritize your connection with soul and spirit and creativity, your creative expression at a higher level, because it's where your talents and gifts are. If Pisces rules your third house, you could very well be clairvoyant and have clear cognition and that ability to communicate with the unseen world and bring that communication forward to your immediate environment. If Pisces rules your fourth house, you're going to want to ground that sense of spirituality at home. It is the roots. You're probably pretty mystical in your generational heritage. Your soul ancestry runs deep in the line of healers. If it rules your fifth house, then again, your creative self-expression needs to be deep. It needs to be moving. It needs to be mystical. And I say needs to be. You might find that need to be strong, that you need a creative outlet. If Pisces rules your sixth house, spirituality and soul is your work. It is your daily connection. If it rules your seventh house, it means your friends and enemies are going to be highly spiritual individuals. If it rules your eighth house, your ability to be in that psychological state and run into the depths of transformation and really understand the areas of healing is going to be strong. If it rules your ninth house, you probably have ethereal travel, right? You have that astral travel, not ethereal. Astral travel is something that's appealing to you. You get a lot of understanding through different cultures that are of different dimensions, more than likely. If Pisces rules your 10th house, you will probably be remembered for your legacy and your work of being able to bring forward the deeper concepts of the soul and sense of spirituality. If Pisces rules your 11th house, you have a lot of ability to dream and need to connect with a lot of healers and shamans and new age technology. But the funny thing is, it's all wisdom. It's all soul wisdom. And then if Pisces rules your 12th house, you're in Aries rising, and you can go deep, incredibly deep. So the boundaries of staying above water, of not swimming in the karmic spew, as Rick Levine says, but really being in a place of connecting to your own soul and recognizing you're on a soul journey for the like unconscious soul, right? I don't know what Carl Jung's house ruled Pisces, but all of a sudden I just got a very strong download of people who work a lot with symbolic energy have Pisces, a strong Pisces signature, and they really use that symbolic and subjective understanding to make a connection with others. Okay, so once you know which house Pisces rules, then you can understand this area that you can put your energy into while the sun is there. So, okay, that was a lot, right? Here we go. The new moon in Pisces happens at 1 degree. If 0 degrees is the day the sun moves into Pisces in the afternoon of February 18th, then that new moon that happens at 1 degree, really we'd round up to 2 degrees, happens on March 20th. So it's a new moon. It's the same day that Venus will move into Aries. So the drama, the headstrong feminine is there. To me, if we took this in a way that is more soul, it's really this new mark of the feminine having a strong voice moving forward. Now, this doesn't mean bitches begin, okay? A feminine energy having a strong voice, it means that it's imperative. Our next journey includes this ability to really pull back, refine, listen, prioritize self-care, prioritize the slowing down, and recognizing the more you slow down, the more you speed up. I know that sounds backwards, but it's the way it works. Okay, so that will be a signature of this new moon. Another signature will be this transformation that the feminine has gone through, right? This recognition of these bigger energies that have transpired over the past few years. Another signature of this new moon will be our kind of ability to articulate the bigger picture, our hopes and dreams. It's going to be challenged by the way we're breaking ground in our new sense of self, our talents, our gifts. So really keep a connection and an articulation with the bigger picture, with the kind of universal connection and how we're receiving messages from a higher vantage point. And are we putting these into the earth to really build and be creative with the structures we're creating as we move forward? And another energy that is strong with this new moon, but it doesn't really come forward until a couple of days, is Mercury trining Mars. So this like quick thinking of your future, of the universe, has energy to drive that forward. So it's really about bringing that mindfulness down and planting that seed that is your creative expression that you deserve to bring forward and give birth to, and by living, really has stamina behind it. The other interesting signature about this Pisces new moon is that on the full moon, Saturn will enter Pisces. I know, that's confusing. The full moon will be in Virgo on March 7th at 16 degrees. Virgo is the Virgin. Virgo's energy is here about service of the individual, of the daily life flow. How you take care of your health, of your physical being, where Pisces is how are you connecting to your soul, right? And so they oppose each other, so they're opposite ends of the same spectrum, all right? So Saturn moving in to Pisces is a really big deal. It's one of the bigger deals of 2023 because we've been under the influence of Saturn. Saturn is the social planet that has to do with rules, boundaries, the construct of time, the way we take responsibility, the way we take the lead, the way we do the really, really hard work to reap the benefits of our life. Saturn has been in Aquarius. Think of how much the travel industry has been impacted. Think of how much flights have been canceled, how hard it has been to travel, because Aquarius is really about getting into different areas and the bigger picture. We haven't had access to it. We've been in a great rebuilding of this new world, new technologies, the rebirth of astrology that has gone on rapid fire in the past 5 years, right? So there's good things of Saturn. Saturn entering Pisces means that Saturn's going to hit this point that the new moon is happening within only 2 weeks of the new moon happening. So somebody described it as Saturn entering Pisces is really like the parent, the landlord, the police officer, whoever is a ruler of that governing force coming in. It's like the buzzkill. I don't see it that way. I see it as like it's just going to be really foggy and blurry, and until we prioritize our inner selves, our innermost self, our core essence, and really doing the hard work of the emotional healing, the soul healing, the generational trauma healing that we have been awoken to in the past few years. So realize this when you're setting your new moon intentions of connecting to your soul, that there's going to be an energy that comes through and really asks you to do that hard work. And then that energy of Pisces will be with us, of Saturn being in Pisces, for about 6 months, I believe. And then it will retrograde back into Aquarius, right? Saturn takes about 5 years to move through a sign. So this will be something that takes some time to move through. I'm sorry, Saturn takes about 3 years to move through a sign. Remember when Saturn and Jupiter were conjunct in the sky? I love hearing the birds. When Saturn and Jupiter were conjunct in the sky in December of 2020, that is when Saturn entered Aquarius. So here we are, 2023. Saturn enters Pisces, then we'll go back into Aquarius, and then by 2024, we'll fully be in Pisces for the next 3 years. All right, this is a lot of information. This is kind of the big deal of March. Before Saturn goes into Pisces, Mercury will go into Pisces, and on March 2nd, you might just want to circle that day. Mercury moves into Pisces. I'm subbing lower school Spanish that day, so it'll be interesting. Mercury moves into Pisces on March 2nd, the same day that Venus is conjunct Jupiter. So it's going to be a real dreamy kind of, there'll be a lot of dreamy energy that's expansive, because Venus conjuncting Jupiter is a great day for romance. If you're Libra Sun, Libra rising, you might find that you attract that ideal partner in the next few weeks. I don't really like to go into the romance thing because you got to work at romance. It doesn't just happen. It's not just some fairy tale. On that same day, Mercury will be conjunct Saturn. So it's like Mercury and Saturn will have that meeting that's going to really be like, what language are we putting into this new technology? Then Mercury moves into Pisces. It's like going, I heard someone explain this one time, like walking on cloud 9, everything's making sense, and then you jump into the deep end of the pool and you didn't know how you got there, right? So it is all of a sudden like crystal clarity, focus, drive, determination, and then it's a big splash and you're swimming. There is a life vest for you, but you have to put it on. You have to put it on. They could be all around you, but if you're floundering and not receiving the help, this is the energy of Pisces and Saturn moving into Pisces. All right. Then later in the month, right, we have the new full moon at 16 degrees Virgo. The signature of that is really this energy of feeling the support of becoming creative, of thinking about things differently, you bringing form and structure to the essence of your soul and being of service. Then we have the next big move is Venus moves into Taurus on March 16th. And the day before Venus moves into Taurus, the sun will be conjunct Neptune. So let me rewind for a second. The day Mercury moves into Pisces, it means while Mercury is in Pisces, the signature that's with it is its conjunction it just had in Saturn. I know some people would argue that that's not part of the Mercury signature, but it's a strong energy. Mercury just had a total realignment with Saturn before it began its journey in Pisces. And Venus, the big signature for Mercury going into Pisces is that Venus will have just had its conjunction with Jupiter. So if you can give voice to the unspeakable, to the pain, to the hurt, to what needs healing, during this Pisces season, you will find your relationships become more expansive. So Saturn moving into Pisces, that signature is this full moon in Virgo. So we could go back 18 months and you could look, okay, what happened when there was this new moon at Virgo at this degree point? Where was Saturn 18 months ago? This is for those of you who are really into the technicalities of this, to look at the storyline. And then that way you can understand, here's the full exposure of what this storyline is. I'll tell you right now, 18 months ago, Saturn was in Aquarius. Saturn was, some of you who've just gone through your Saturn return because you have Saturn in Aquarius, Look at that storyline 18 months ago and really understand what this full moon is illuminating for you. Because Saturn being in Pisces means there's going to be a lot of illumination around the way we are of service, that we do the work, the way we take care of our health and our daily life. And if you know what house Pisces rules, completely opposite of that is the house that the full moon will be in, right? So if Pisces rules your 6th house, then the full moon will be happening in your 12th house. It could be your 11th or your 1st, but that gets complicated, okay? So then we'll have that Venus in Taurus has a huge signature, and it's not the sweetest. However, Venus is at home. Venus is the ruler of Taurus. So beauty, sensuality, your 5 senses. And this is a really good thing to tie in. We've been talking a lot about Pisces season. Pisces doesn't have form or shape. It's expansive. It's the ocean. It's not the wave, right? Virgo energy would be the wave. Pisces would be the ocean. So in that signature of Venus going home to Taurus, she wants you to connect to your 5 senses. A wonderful practice is connecting to your 5 senses. What do you see? What do you taste? What do you smell? What do you hear? What do you feel? Right? How are you connecting to those 5 senses to ground yourself? And when you ground yourself, then you can anchor into your gifts and talents much more quickly. Here's the deal. When Venus moves into Taurus, that means she zipped right through Aries. Think about when the sun moved into Pisces, Venus entered Aries. The sun is still in Pisces. Now Venus is going so fast, she's now in Taurus. That's fast. Mercury will also follow suit. And a couple days later, Mercury flies through Pisces and will land in Aries, all during Pisces season. Okay. When Venus moves into Taurus, we have Mercury conjunct Neptune. So how do we really listen to our dreams, connect to our angels, our higher power? How do we connect to the universal energy as source and allow it to help us in our creative expression? The sun is square Mars, so we're going to feel that challenge and that drive. If we really want to move forward, we have to feel deeply. And Venus is square Pluto. Venus in Aries squaring Pluto in Capricorn is that challenge of the way we lead, where our power comes from, and how that is being transformed. It's an opening square. So it's going to tell us a little bit of the storyline of what really is going to change within the feminine understanding and the feminine power and the respect of feminine. When you guys might think I'm crazy, but the glyph for Aries is the bullhorn. It also reminds me of ovaries and the uterus. So Pluto deals a lot with our governing of sexuality. So I'll let you put those together. It's an opening square, so let's hope that Venus moving into Taurus will give that energy to respecting the way people express themselves, right? Their sense of sexuality, their pronoun, who they choose to love, how they want to love, and their own reproductive rights. We'll see what happens. When Mercury moves into Venus, we want to watch our ability to snap, use harsh words that can hurt and be painful, especially because we're still in the final signs of the sun being in Pisces. So there's going to be a lot of, the word volatility comes to me, but people become volatile when they feel vulnerable. So if you're putting on the life vest and you're swimming in the deep waters and somebody hands you the life vest, you have to put it on, right? Now we can also spin this that Mercury moves into Aries, and it's a place to break ground in a new vernacular that really honors your heart and soul. Then the sun will move into Aries on the 20th, And right before, and the sun moving into Aries, there's will be a new moon on March 21st. So that's a 0-degree new moon, a beautiful and potent time to start anew and create something new. And then just to take you a little bit into Aries season, because this is still the energy of March, we have Pluto moving into Aquarius. The other big energy of 2023. So think about it. March marks the ending of the astrological cycle. So that astrological new year happens with that new moon in Aries on March 21st. And then we have Pluto moving into Aquarius. I'll just have to save that one. I really believe that this is where we give the energy to the new structures. We give power to our new technologies and ways of being, but it's also going to ask us to check ourselves, right? Like, how are we really addressing this new technology and working with the wisdom we've gained while Pluto was in Capricorn? And if it helps you out, Pluto has been in Capricorn for about 15 years. So I personally am ready for Pluto to work a different area of my life. I'm not saying I welcome Pluto energy, because Pluto energy is very deep soul work. And so Capricorns are relieved that Pluto will be leaving. Aquarians are exhausted. Just saying. Because Saturn's been shaking things up for you, and now Pluto's going to come through and give you strength to really handle these new changes. We just have to take care of ourselves. So thank you so much for letting me be outside, for tuning in, for taking interest in the heavens, of remembering that by listening to me, what you're really doing is listening to something within yourself that is guiding you and supporting you. I'm looking at the sky right now because I was able to see so much of the astrological shifts that we've gone through in the past few years, because the sun sets over there and rises behind me. And there's a really beautiful energy happening in the skies right now. So by you tuning in is that start of putting on your life vest. It's that chance to be true to yourself. It's the one thing we have in this lifetime, is to care about ourselves and find comfort in our own skin. It's not a problem to be solved, but a life to be had. And I hope that by tuning in, you gain some insight that can carry you forward. And so I appreciate the likes. If you're watching this on YouTube, the subscribe, comments are always welcome. And may you always be real. May you always be true. And may you feel permission during Pisces season, if there's ever a time, to be soulfully you. I will join you again for Aries season come the mid of March. Until then, be good to yourself. Use this as a way to prepare and to be aware and to support yourself in the here and now. And I will catch you on the next episode. Bye.